Hi there, everybody. I am popping into your feed today to talk to you about getting a virtual assistant. I'm Wendy Margolin, and I help clinicians grow your practice with content marketing. And I'm super excited to have a virtual assistant who I've worked with a bunch, Sasha Wallach, and I'm going to bring her on now and introduce her. And we're going to talk about how you can incorporate having a VA into your practice no matter what stage you're at. So hang on, let me add her in. Hey, Sasha.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Wendy.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't do a lot of podcasts, and I know I need to start doing some of these, but yeah, it is going to be awesome. Or
Well, hopefully we're gonna get you really even busier than you already are. So
I'll take
if
it.
it's up to me, you won't have much time. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Okay, so let me introduce you. So Sasha was kind enough to come on here and we've worked together a bunch, like I said. But okay, so Sasha, you told me I want to hear more details, but you're farm raised, city conditioned. Sasha is the founder and driving force behind Canada's virtual assistant. Through management, logistics, executive assistance, and the food and beverage industry, she set her own path to start and run this company. She's got a passion for working with entrepreneurs, and in her spare time, she loves to do water sports, hanging out with friends, and traveling.
Yeah.
Okay, Sasha. So we were just talking before we jumped on about how you were actually in Mexico. So I know one of your visions for starting your company was to be able to be more mobile. But tell us just like a little bit about where you are and what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm back in Canada. So I live up in Canada, and it's very cold in the winter. So that was always my motivation, um, to be flexible, to have a virtual kind of lifestyle. And I think through COVID, that just kind of expedited things, and brought it alive of what that could look like. So I worked from home for 3.5 years now. I, again, like previous to this, have worked mainly food and beverage, kind of management, logistics. And then I was an executive assistant for casino property before this, and worked with their restaurants, worked with their finances, and then worked with their management team. So really cool job and experience, just very corporate. And that's just not where I wanted to find myself. So when I left that, and I have a sister that's very entrepreneurial as well, was raised by business owners in my parents' farm, and just have lots of friends in that world. So kind of started it as a kind of a fluke, I want to say. I started with a business coach full time, which doesn't always work, or doesn't always happen for virtual assistants right off the hop to have a full time contract. But I quit my job with nothing, and it just kind of worked out. And through just, I think, doing good business, was able to get a lot of referrals, and grew and expanded my company that way. And now with COVID, it's everybody's going online, and if they weren't already, need online help. And so our my business grew to an agency. So it's been about a year and a half since we've been agency mode. And yeah, just I the way I grew up and everything, I've been working online. I love the flexibility of it. I love going to a different city, and I have a sister that lives in another city. So, I can go hang out there, go to a cafe during the day and work. Obviously, COVID, can't work outside of the home as much. And then even with COVID hitting the city I was in, and obviously everywhere in Canada and the States and around the world, I actually hung out at my parents' farm a lot. So probably 3 months last year, was able to be at the farm, still do business. As long as I did internet, I was good. And then traveling as well to Mexico. During the pandemic, I stayed in one place, and super safe and careful with who I hung out with and that type of thing. But it was just a really cool thing to experience, the availability to do that. As well, a lot of business owners that we work with have now either fully gone online, or they have a piece of online. So that's more of a lifestyle available to them either now or down the road, a year or two, just because you have to diversify in this world that we've come to. And it doesn't mean that you have to be amazing at tech, or you have to know everything that's going on. Sometimes you need to hire someone to fill in those gaps for you. Um, in anything, whether that's business operations, social media, um, course development, anything like that. But we really like working with people that are very good at what they do and very passionate about what they do as entrepreneurs, because I really love entrepreneurial business owners, not the people that are like, I want to get in and make so much money and just do this for fun. And, I want to be a business owner because someone told me I should. But those people that are, those entrepreneurs that have 4,000 ideas a minute, constantly change their minds, which sometimes is frustrating, but it's also, how I work and how we work with people. So that's like my passion. I love business owners. I love the creativity that they bring. Um, and then whatever background or industry they're in, the experience that they can bring to the world. And we are just able to make it business operations a little bit better, or, we're able to advance them online and to cut through and, be more present online and have more impact. Because when you're in one city and you have a brick and mortar, sometimes you're stuck to that. So when you can transition online, you now open up, your province or state or your country or, a continent to yourself, which is pretty cool.
Right, right, absolutely. So you and I must have met soon after you became an agency. I don't even remember how I found you or exactly when we
Yeah, I
started.
don't remember either. I
I
think I
don't
might
know,
have
but
online.
you impressed me right away, and
Oh,
you and your team have always been really responsive. So
yeah.
one of the things that I always hear from the clinicians I work with is like, whenever I'm talking to them, sometimes just business owner to business owner, I will hear that they're, oh, like a little bit overwhelmed or frustrated or certain parts of their job. It's like, you get into whatever it is you're doing, you get into it because you have a passion for it. And then all of a sudden there's all these other parts that you have to do and you maybe don't even enjoy, or even if you do, you don't have time.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, well, you just should get a virtual assistant. And they're always like, well, how do I find one?
Yeah.
Can't find anyone good. And I'm just like, I don't know. I have someone else who works with me as well. She was
Yeah.
my first hire. I
Awesome.
found her through a client. We've worked together almost 2 years now. And
Cool.
then soon after I needed someone who knew like more of the tech
Yeah.
side. And so that's how I found you guys. And I know that you do all the parts. So
Yeah.
I started just casually telling people to use you, but now you and I have set up something official
Yes.
where, yeah, so I have this clinician social media club where members who join get monthly Canva templates and social media captions. And as helpful as that can be for some people, even for some who are really busy or just have no interest in having to customize Canva templates,
Yeah.
so that's where a VA can really fit in to support that work. So the goal is that if someone has a little bit more budget, they can customize the captions and then send the templates, the Canva templates, and their captions to you. And then your team is
Yeah.
able to schedule that. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about being able to offer that to people because they're always asking. And I know that they need even more than that. So I have a feeling that people who do join that club and then start to work with you are going to find all other sorts of ways that your team can help. So
Yeah.
can you tell me like some of the things? How do you know when, oh, if you can put yourself in the shoes of the people who work with you, how do you know when it's the right time to start to look for a VA, hire a VA, and what they should look to partner with you for?
Yeah, for sure. So I find it's a tough balance because depending on when people are coming into the world of needing help, right? Sometimes they've been clinicians or solo practitioners for 10 years and they just are wanting to up their online presence or whatever they're trying to do, or they're busting at the seams. Their family life is getting kind of mess with, or their recreation or their business is just too much that they can't expand the way they want. So people come to us at different points. It's a very fine balance when coming too soon and coming too late. Um, and it's something that I experience as well. Like I've gone through a lot of this myself personally with just being way too busy and being like, yep, I can take that, I can do that. And I had 1 month about a year and a half ago, I worked 283 client hours, which is a bad idea. Don't recommend it. But it also taught me like everybody's got a different breaking point. Some people it's 20 hours a week outside of um, what they want to be doing. Some people want to work 20 hours a week and they want to outsource everything else. Some people have the capacity and like to work 60 hours. I don't recommend it, but it's possible. So I find like the biggest thing is you have to be able to clearly and it doesn't have to be like this perfect vision of like what you're going to pass off, but you have to be willing to pass things off because as business owners, I think all of us are a little bit of a control freak, and it's hard to pass things off if you haven't worked with staff in that way before, and to trust people that again that are online and you don't really know, And that's why referrals are always awesome if you know these people and you have some background with them, because there is a lot of crazy people online. And just to be very, when I do say when people are interviewing, whether it's us or anybody else, just make sure they're credible, make sure they have an online presence, they have legit testimonials and links to some of their clients' sites, just so it's cohesive and you know that they're not going to just be weird. Make sure they have contracts in place, make sure they're a legitimate business, they're insured. All those things are important when hiring. And then coming to, hiring a VA, there's that point where depends on where you're ready to go to and your budget. I think that's really important to know what you can sustain. And obviously that can grow and that can change and, expand and contract. Just that's the nature of business, but just something like a baseline of what financially you can maintain for your business, I think is important. So whether that's $500 a month, $1,500 a month, $4,000 a month, it looks different for every business. So I think that's the first thing is your budget. And then there's going to be a point where some of that workload needs to come off. And that's one thing. We have a form on our site, and I think I sent you the link as well. And it's just like 111 tasks we can do for you. So it's just that starting point of like, what are those things as a business owner that I'm doing that aren't necessarily the best use of my time? So, for example, one of the best examples is the first client I started with. She's like, I want to network and I want to coach one-on-one. That was her. She wanted to focus on that, and I kind of did everything else back end. So I did the admin, I did a lot of billing for her, I did a lot of QuickBooks stuff. I had full access to her back end of her business. So I did that because her best use of her time, and she charges out X amount per hour, was to be able to get more clients and to build that way and to network. And that was like her best use of time. And my best use of time was to do the back end business operations. So usually, what I say is like, you have to have a few tasks that you can regularly pass off and you're okay and comfortable doing that. And that can take a bit of time just to build trust with your VA. That's going to probably take 4 to 6 weeks just to make sure communication styles are correct and that kind of thing. But just, it's a tough one. Like, cause you don't want to wait too long because then you are expecting a lot to happen in 2 weeks because you've totally gone too far and you have way too much on your plate. But I say when it's kind of like that pinch of, a few things are starting to get really tough for you, or you're really starting to burn out, and you can start to afford that. It's, add some help into your life, whether that's 5 hours a week or 2 hours a week or 10 hours a week to like help yourself and your business grow. And I've even done that too. I've had times where I've hired a VA and I'm like, here's my to-do list. I'm going to hire you for 20 hours and I just need you to help me catch up. And because sometimes it's as a business owner, sometimes it's just a mental block where you're like, these things are not hard to do. Like it's not tough tasks. It's just, I can't seem to get to them and I've been delaying it for 4 weeks. So it's one of those things, just when you can have someone come in, help you almost catch up. And then so you can have a clear, fresh brain again to be creative or to move your business forward or to just relax a bit, depending on what your goals are with things. That's the biggest thing. But it is a tough balance, and everybody's kind of has to sort that out a little bit for themselves of like, where's their, not so much their breaking point, because we don't want to get there. But where's that point in your business or your life where things are just like kind of starting to pinch a little bit, and some things may be slipping that you don't want to slip, whether that's your business or your personal life, because your mental capacity just isn't able to take all of that stuff on. So I usually like to chat with people and in consults, really get to know them and their goals and that type of thing, because everybody is so different. Some people like don't want to talk ever after 4 p.m. And then I have people emailing us at Saturday night, like they work all the time. I don't really respond on Saturday nights, but everybody's so different. So we definitely like customize per business and just really try to work with the business owner. Again, because some business owners, like I have one client I talk to every 6 weeks and we're good. And I have other clients that I talk to every single day. So it just depends on what people are expecting out of help as well. What support they want and how much involvement they want as well. Because some people like to be hyper involved and some people are like, do my social media, don't talk to me for 3 months. So very different. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in between, but probably
Yeah.
mostly toward the latter.
Yeah, exactly.
Once I trust someone, I'm like, please just take it.
Do it all. And
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like
Check in and be
yeah,
friendly.
yeah. We see that with clients too. And like, I have 2 personal clients that I still work with. outside of running the agency. But we have clients that, like I run a lot of their business operations now because there's that, I've been with them for 2 years and there's that trust built. And some of our VAs as well, like we've had clients for 8, 10 months now where they're taking on more, they're hiring them more for bigger projects, for bigger project management projects. So it's cool to see that evolve too, because as businesses evolve, we evolve. The online world, as you know, and social media and marketing and digital anything is changing probably every month, which is awesome and frustrating, as you know. So yeah, we have to keep up with the times, and we like to develop, we like to grow. And it's always interesting learning because everybody's always learning about business and especially how things are changing nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was thinking about two things as you were talking. One is that I think it's better to hire a little early
Yeah,
than late. So I found, and I had heard this from others, and I experienced it myself, that once I started working with someone, then it shifted my whole mindset to
right.
where I gave it. It wasn't you who I first started with. I still have my virtual assistant Erin on my team,
Yeah,
and I find with both of you that once started working with you, so then every task I do that's not something that only I can do, I have in the back of my mind, is this something that I could hand off?
right.
And, I'm not always ready to hand off everything, maybe budget, or maybe I still don't have it down as a system, but it just shifted the way that I run my business. Like, how can I turn what I do more into a system? So
Yeah,
I think working with you guys early rather than later
yeah,
is good.
yeah,
And the other thing is that uh, the part of working with a virtual assistant has made me just be better about taking things that I do and doing, like, I do a lot of Loom videos where I show how to do something, a task I want to give away, and then you have that, you know not forever, well, as long as there's Loom.
yeah.
So I have that in a space where I can access that. I could give it to someone else. So what are ways that people, once they start working with you, like, what are some of those early tasks that you would do with someone who's, maybe in the space of a therapist or a physician who's opening a private practice? Like, what are, a lot of times people want, I hear they need help with billing, they need help with answering phones, which I'm not sure that you even do that, and social media. So, what are some of the things that you have on that list? And I'll make sure to put a link to the list in the
Awesome.
comments too.
Yeah. We try to stay away from live phone calls. It's tough to maintain hours and figure that out. There are really great call centers that people can purchase. They get like a certain amount of hours per month. That can be a really great option. We don't really do phone calls, but a few of the like starting things are yes, insurance billing, and depending on what industry they're in and what type of sign offs are needed. Sometimes we can do it, sometimes we can't. We've worked with psychologists, massage therapists, different doctors, and that type of thing, where we're able to do kind of insurance billings for them. We just have to typically do a few more sign offs because of privacy with clients and obviously very personal information. So I'm very careful with that. And yeah, insurance billing is a big one. Email management's a big one too when it comes to people emailing questions in, inquiries, appointments, that type of thing. We like to work with people if they're newer, they don't know yet, is getting a good system set up for them that will do payments, that will do booking, that can create some of that automation set in. And you still have to have a human touch in a lot of these interactions, but there are a lot of automations that you can put into play. So, for example, if a new clinician or client has clients coming in or patients coming in, we can set up intake forms that go out automatically. If they don't add a credit card on file, they can get a notification. Different forms they need to sign, just anything like that. As much as we can get it automated for them, we try to do that, because then it takes away us, and then people can focus on that client care more, and they can focus on growing and marketing their company more. So those are the big things that we start with. Email management's a big one. Like I get a ton of emails a day just with what I do, but when you're working one-on-one with patients, you don't have time to check emails between every single patient. If you're a physio or massage therapist or a doctor, or like if you're back to back all day and then you have 30 emails at night, it sucks. And it's really frustrating. And, you always feel like you're behind at that point. So it's nice just to have someone pop in twice a day, answer any questions that are in there. Sometimes we do have to double check with the business owner if it's something we don't quite know how to answer yet, but usually after 2 to 3 months, working with someone, you know how to answer those questions and how to get that done. So that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Setting up systems, email management. We try to stay away from phone calls, and then just getting proper resources on their site. So, if you're getting an email that's 6 times a week, that's the same question. Okay, let's get that up on your resource. Let's get that in your intake form. So just kind of like streamlining some business operations as well. And again, social media. It's one thing that I will admit it's not my thing. I don't love doing social media. It is something I find extremely hard to do for my own business. And when I started, I had to do it myself. And through just expanding a team, we have someone on our team that is dedicated to social media, and she loves it. And that is awesome. Just not my thing. Right? So I've kind of created this team of where we can fill in gaps, where Brock, who's worked with you a ton, he is our like tech savior wizard, and I love him. And he saved my butt so many times. And he can pop into client's thing, and it's not a huge thing. It's maybe an hour or two to set up this or make sure this is working, or some kind of website link broke or something happened. He can pop in there and do that. And when people work with us, it's cool because you're going to have a dedicated VA, but then you'll also have access to the team where, Brock can pop in, or I can say, okay, this is why this, and this is happening. So it's nice just to have some backup on our side as well. Kind of peace of mind for people hiring us to not be ever left, because sometimes emergencies happen, people have things happen, and they have to, family stuff or health stuff. And so we can kind of fill in the gap for them as well. So we don't really skip a beat with different things like that. So it's usually just getting people's systems flowing. That's the biggest thing with any business, and especially working with anything that needs sign-offs or privacy or different compliances or intake forms done, like making sure that's all set as well as it can be with the system that the owner chooses. Just so they can run business operations a little easier. Yeah.
An incredible difference. So I think what it comes down to is that you, as the practice owner, business owner, you don't have to know everything. You have to
Yeah.
have a sense of what you need. But your team, Sasha, has really seen the back end of so
Yeah.
many businesses by now that you can be like, oh, you guys just need to use Dubsado or like whatever other software that can turn this challenge into a system that is working for you and can kind of just keep running in the background. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a nice thing is like we've been, I've been around for 3.5 years full time, and there's, VAs in our team that have been around probably for about a year and a half. So you see a lot of back end business, and back end business is all very similar. And then when you see some of like the more healthcare industries, it's all very similar. So it's easier for us to come in, set it up, get those systems flowing. And then again, once those systems are in place, then you can focus more on client care, expansion, outreach, anything else that needs to get done. Yeah.
yeah, that's great. What do you like if you had recommendations of what people who come to you are ready to get started, like what do you wish that they had? Here's your chance. What do you
Oh
wish that
boy.
they brought to the table to be able to make your work with them the most successful?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is clear communication. So whatever that means to someone, whether that's verbal, or they can write things down of what they need. I always tell people it's not. I think people expect like to hire someone is going to be like daisies and it's going to be amazing first day. It's not, and I don't mean to scare people, but it's just figuring out communication on how you and your VA work. It's just bumpy for about 2 to 3 weeks, and that's just because everybody's got different communication styles. Some business owners that I've worked with are like extremely direct, like this is exactly what I want you to do, with details, with like point form and every single thing done. And then there's people that are like, I want you to do this. And then you're like, I'm going to have to read between the lines on that one and figure it out. And we always double check with people. And okay, is this what you want? Is this what you're envisioning? Okay, let's move forward with that. I think the biggest thing that I would wish is, people are, just clear about what they're looking for. And I think sometimes people are very unclear, and it's not because they mean to be. It's just the fact that they are a little bit overwhelmed in their business and they don't know how to get help. So I think that's a big part of why I created that checklist, is just so that they can sit down and like, oh, yeah, I spend 30 minutes a day checking my email and 20 minutes a day checking social media. And you don't think it's a lot of time when you're just doing it because you're checking your phone or you're doing this. And then you add it up in a day and you're like, okay, that's 20 hours a month that I'm spending just checking things that, maybe half of that can go to someone else. So you can focus more in a day. You just don't realize some of those time sucks. So yeah, definitely. I definitely encourage people to, sit down, write a list. Maybe it's 3 things for right now. And as a start, and they get going on that. And it's a good start. Everything's evolving. Businesses evolve. The world we're in, you have to stay moving. You can't just do one thing and it's going to work for 6 years. Unfortunately, it's probably going to work for 3 to 6 months.
Right.
And, it's going to change for us too. Like, we have clients that have exponentially grown. We've had clients that through COVID have really lost a lot of their company. So we just have to stay kind of in motion with them as things evolve for them as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So tell my viewers or my listeners, if you're listening later on the podcast,
Yeah.
where they can find you.
Awesome. So you can find us at canadasvirtualassistant.com. You can Google that name. We will usually pop up as well on Instagram, canadas.virtual.assistant. Canada's Virtual Assistant on Facebook. And where else can you find us? You can find us, I think, linked on your site, or maybe on LinkedIn. It'll be linked.
Yeah, you're on my site.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, and I will put those links in the show notes as well as your list of, I think you said 116 ways you could work with a VA, right? Was
Yeah.
that the right number?
I had 111. I think I
100.
made it 111 because that's a cool number. I think that's
Yeah, 111. Okay, I like that. So I'll
yeah.
put that in the comments and I'll put that in the show notes. All right, thank you so much for joining me. And I hope that people reach out to you. I know that there are many of my listeners that need help.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wendy. And nice to meet everybody on the podcast and online. And hopefully we can chat in the future. And just if if you have business questions, feel free to reach out. I'm very open to helping people just, recommend some programs, even if that's all it is, then just feel free to reach out and email me.
Totally. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you. See you all next time.